Okay, the hour has arrived. It's now 7 o'clock, and you are at the webinar Energy Medicine, Energy Healing, Debugging, and Upgrading the Human Software. And I was just noticing this last week that we are on the sixth webinar of our series, and we have really created quite a just quite a documentation of health uh, information. We've got the one I gave last week, and then we have Dr. Angela Carlson, Gus Vargas, Denise Tropia, and then our original webinar. And we also have 3 upcoming webinars, and we'll have Loya Riggin next week. So there's quite a growing documentation of really valuable health knowledge and help. And the goal of our webinar here is that through the summer, we are inviting people to come and share a health goal, ask questions along the way. It could be a goal that has to do with weight. It could be a goal that has to do with emotional health, fitness, spiritual health. There are a number of areas of health that we are putting on the table here. And besides sharing the valuable information from the experts, what we're doing is we're also setting a goal and moving forward to achieve our optimal health. And that is the title of our series as a whole. And just to give you an idea where you can get some of the the webinar replays, it would be on my running website, and you go all the way to the right to the health education link. And when you click that, you see the webinars. This, Holly's will be complete with her webinar video. Following this webinar, it might take a couple days. I like to give myself at least 48 hours. But this is an example of what it looks like when it's done. I delivered a webinar last week. You click on the link, and you've got the webinar replay video, the webinar ad, and what the main purpose of the webinar is, what you're going to get out of the webinar. And then I put the webinar notes here for people who, maybe you've seen the video, or maybe you just want to skim it to see what it's all about. And so that's pretty much what we have each week. Is you can go here and you click on the health education link. You can register for the upcoming webinar, and you can look at webinar replay videos and follow what we've discussed the last 5 weeks. And this is going to continue going on through the end of the summer and possibly beyond that. So been a very valuable series. I've done this for selfish reasons. I enjoy learning about health, optimizing my health, and I just feel so honored to have all these experts here with me in this webinar and learning from them. So tonight we have Holly McClenahan, and she is going to talk about energy medicine, energy healing, debugging, upgrading the human software. And just to give you a little overview, even though energy medicine has been around for thousands of years and 90 years after quantum physics explains it, we're still having a disconnect about how it relates in our lives, in our reality. We live in a sea of energy, and understanding our energy in this vast ocean of different energies gives us the power to become healthy in all levels of life. So we're going to look at energy today. and how that influences our health. And in this webinar, you're going to learn how the Chinese, indigenous peoples, and Jesus used energy for healing, different ways of understanding energy. Everything has electromagnetic waves of energy, like a unique signature. What it means to debug and upgrade your human software. That's a fascinating statement. I can't wait to hear about that. The mechanics, the mechanisms of self-healing, the many causes of energy problems, and how energy is being used in medicine today. And I always like to look at, what are you going to come away with? You're going to walk away with awareness of anything is the first step. So being aware of what energy is and how energy affects you personally will have you looking at life with a broader perspective, open up a whole new area of health for a lot of us. You're going to come away with an understanding that, understanding expands your awareness, which increases your ability to be a healthy human. And being a healthy human benefits you, your family, your friends, your world. We all become better versions of ourselves. So as our health increases and we're more healthy people, everyone around us is influenced by that health. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'd like to say a few things about Holly. She is a certified tribal healer. Maybe she'll tell us what that means. Is president of Harmony Health in Las Vegas, Nevada. Holly's a master of assessment. She finds energetic disturbances, their sources, and the interventions required for resolution. She uses the knowledge of the connection between your energy and your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual state of being and moves you into a state of harmony and wellness. And I always remember that story of when our presentation team went to visit Holly, and one member of that team was talking about particular health issues that she had. She was naming these issues, and then they arrived at Holly's office, and Holly did an assessment, and Holly, through her energy assessment, named those same issues. That's kind of eerie. So we'll learn a little more about what's behind this. It's a really unique way of diagnosing the overall health, your energy. Okay, Holly has 40 years of experience in the healing field. She began her career as a nurse, first working as a nursing assistant in geriatrics, starting at age 14. Wow. She graduated from the University of Kentucky and obtained her registered nurse license in 1978. She maintained a CCRN license as a neurosurgical trauma ICU nurse at Loma Linda University Medical Center in Loma Linda, California, and at Burroughs Neurological Institute at St. Joseph's Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. So she has quite a pedigree before she even gets into the bioresonance. And so we're looking forward to hearing from Holly. So Holly, I'm going to go ahead and let you take over the screen and just launch into your presentation. It's wonderful to have you with us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. Okay, so let me get to then the screen share for everybody. And slide point.
Should be at the bottom of the images.
Yes, here it is. And then we're going to go to here.
Ah, great.
And then I'm going to move see if I can move y'all to the other side so I can see this better. Okay, so energy medicine, energy healing, debugging and upgrading human software. All these things mean the same thing. Energy medicine means the same thing as energy healing, and it means the same thing as debugging and upgrading the human software. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about, though, is how I even got into this, because I was a nurse. I was very ICU nurse, so I was very much into Western medicine. I wasn't into energy healing. I didn't know anything about it. But in my 30s, I started having seizures, and the seizures were psychogenic seizures, which meant they weren't true brainwave changes, but my brain would shut down, and it would look just like a true seizure, loss of consciousness and flip-flopping around. And I was diagnosed as post-traumatic stress, and I was told that I probably would never recover from these seizures, that I would probably have them the rest of my life. And so I was looking at a very bleak life of no work, no driving. I had a hard time being around people. I had nightmares. I couldn't sleep very well. And it was very traumatic for me, because I had a 4-year-old son that I had to send to live with my daughter, because I never knew when I would have a seizure. And then to get the diagnosis that it was maybe only a 5% chance of overcoming these seizures that they were aware of at that time. And I looked that doctor in the eye, that neurologist, and I said, I don't believe you. That's not true for me. I will find a way. And so I began a quest of looking for ways to heal myself. In the meantime, I was on medicine to help me sleep at night and to control the anxiety I had. I was with a psychiatrist, and also in group psychiatry group. I was followed by the neurologist. I also, my thyroid didn't work well, so I was on thyroid medication, and that was another thing I was told I would never get off of. And so I was going full Western medicine dealing with this, and nothing was working. So I started looking outside, and I tried all kinds of things. And what I found was that energy medicine. And I went to an energy medicine practitioner, and with one session, I no longer had loss of consciousness with my seizures. And 6 months later, I was seizure-free and back to work. And I continued to work as a nurse, but at the same time, I started studying in energy medicine. And for the next 10 years, I poured myself into energy medicine, in looking at it from a very scientific view and studying at the Institute for Regulatory Medicine in Munich, Germany, and becoming a bioresonance practitioner that uses a device to work with clearing energy. I also, tandem with that for 10 years, worked with a Native American shaman. And so I learned indigenous practices of how to heal the soul and the body. And I became an ordained minister and I'm a Golden Eagle minister. So I had these two different viewpoints that were seeped in quantum physics and then seeped in indigenous training. And I integrated them as I moved along in my life. So now it's been 25 years that I've been doing this. So I have to say that in the beginning, my mind was closed like that door is in this picture. I don't know what's on the other side. I have no idea. But it's kind of like this. What if I told you that the world is not flat? You'd probably go, duh, right? Well, when I was younger, I was told that when it was discovered that the world was round and that you wouldn't fall off the edge, that it still took 100 years before people even believed that. And folks, in 1905, Einstein discovered his famous equation of E=mc², which means that energy is matter compressed. It's been 114 years. Don't you think it's time to open your mind? Don't you think it's time to know the truth that we are energy? Everything is energy. Everything that you see, think, feel, touch, smell, it's all energy. So here we go. What is energy healing? Well, energy healing really is quite simple, and that's what I love about it. It's any therapy that can improve the flow of energy in or around the body. And the second part of that is to remove any energy blocks so the energy can flow. And these energy blocks can even be on a psychological level. One of the things I use muscle testing to find out if someone resonates, that means they're energized by, resonating with a statement that I am ready, safe, willing, able, want, deserve, and am responsible to be completely healthy. And you would be surprised how many people come to me and they do not have 100% resonance with that. So it's one of the very first things I do is remove that energy block so that they're resonating with being 100% healthy. And even just doing that one little thing, people begin to see wonderful changes in their life. The knowledge of energy healing, that's been around for like centuries. I mean, we look at the Chinese, the indigenous people, Jesus. Like, let's take the Chinese first. Okay, so the Chinese, they've been using this technique called acupuncture, and it's based on meridians, which are rivers of energy in the body that give organs and systems energy to function well. And this is over 6,000 years old. About 2,000 years ago was when they started using needles. And so you may know an acupuncturist that uses needles and stimulates these energy meridians. But this is 6,000 years old. So they probably used sharp rocks and bone to stimulate those energy meridians. And not only that, but there was a man that, let's see, his name was Dr. Kim Bong Han. And that was over 50 years ago. He actually in his lab was able to inject dyes, and he proved the existence of these meridians. So, woo, it's really true. Even though it's been working for 6,000 years, now we've got the proof. Okay, now indigenous peoples, these are ancient healing rituals that they use. Many times it's the medicine men and medicine women and the shamans. Again, I studied with a shaman. And many of the techniques that I learned through shamanic touch that he trained me in, we used indigenous techniques from all different tribes, Huna, Mohawk, Blackfoot, just every type of technique that they had been using. He taught us in this shamanic touch classes. And so I am also a shamanic touch practitioner. And again, thousands and thousands of years old, they've been doing this. Let's talk about Jesus. Hey, so in the Bible, what did Jesus use to heal people? It was laying on of hands. He didn't have any equipment. He didn't have medicine. He didn't give them herbs. He didn't do any of that. He was using energy medicine to help heal the people. And not only that, but the healing traditions from China, India, Japan, and Tibet, they all speak of these energy channels, meridians, or nadis. So it's not anything new. This is absolutely nothing new. So modern energy techniques, which we sometimes don't think of them as being energy techniques, but the CAT scan is an energy technique because it is using X-ray, and then there's EEGs, electroencephalogram monitoring for the brain, ECGs, electrocardiogram monitoring of the heart, ultrasound, bioresonance technology. That's what I use, that I studied in Germany and have a device that I use. Lasers, thermography, homeopathy, and MEG. And MEG is kind of an interesting thing because that has just been showing up on my awareness lately. And MEG is a magneticoencephalograph, and it does not even touch the head. It maps the brain activity based on the magnetic field and produced by the electrical currents naturally occurring in the brain. So we're already using energy techniques in Western medicine, but we're also using energy techniques in this alternative medicine field too. Things like Reiki would belong with this. The scientists, they recognized 90 years ago that matter originates when energy is compressed. And so this is an interesting thing because matter is condensed energy, and it's since 1905. 1905 was a breakthrough paper that Albert Einstein did, 1905. And in 2008, so it took them 100 years to scientifically, with this big group from the French, German, and Hungarian physicists, they were able to prove it beyond a doubt. Okay, so it was known 100 years ago, but now we got that scientific proof. So this is kind of a wordy thing that you might get, you might not get, because it's got words that we don't know and we're not used to hearing. But I'm going to read it anyway. According to the conventional model of particle physics, protons and neutrons comprise smaller particles known as quarks, which in turn are bound by gluons. That's a great name, right? Gluons. The odd thing is this. The mass of gluons, the matter, is 0. And the mass of quarks is only 5%. So where is the missing 85%? Well, the answer, according to this study published in the U.S. Journal of Science, says it comes from the energy from the movements and interactions of the quarks and the gluons. Really interesting, because really we're nothing. It's just like we're really related more to the movements and interactions. And so the scientists have proven that our whole universe is an infinite universe of energy, a sea of energy, in which solid bodies called stars and planets have been formed through compression. Energy equals matter concentrated, meaning compressed. And not only that, our Earth has an energy field. It has an electromagnetic field around it. You know, so everything has an electromagnetic field. It's not just the Earth, but the Earth energy creates this field. The Earth generates this energy field. It's called Schumann waves, and it's usually at 7.83 hertz. That's a measurement of how strong the field is. And what's really interesting is that these Schumann waves gives our body energy. So astronauts, and how they discovered this was when we started sending people into space, astronauts would come back and they might have things like insomnia, depression, GI issues. And they found that because they were outside the Earth's magnetic field, so they found if they generated this Schumann waves inside the capsules where they were, they would come back without these issues. So this is something that's been used since the 1960s and 70s in the space program. So again, this energy of the Earth, it gives us energy. And the human body emits an energy field. This picture is showing like what the Eastern Indians call chakras. And you can see the chakras. They are the ones that have the little wheels of light here in different parts of the body, all the way up to here. And the meridians, which are the rivers of energy, together they will create the energy field. So we have our own energy field too. Again, how is that energy field given energy? By the Earth's magnetic field. Let's take it down a notch to the heart. So the heart is more powerful than the brain. And the heart is about 100,000 times stronger electrically and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. Interesting, huh? So one of the things about this that I thought was really interesting is with your heart, and some of the ways that if it's emitting this electromagnetic, this is a picture, by the way, from the Heart Math Institute. And the Heart Math Institute says this: our thoughts and emotions affect the electromagnetic field of the heart and energetically affects those in the environment, whether or not we are conscious of it. So all we have to do is have someone come into our environment and they're connected with the energy of our heart that's radiating out here. It's kind of like if you've ever had children, you might know that your child will come in the house. You won't even look at the child, but you will know, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. No. What's wrong? You turn around and look at them, and they're just standing there, but you felt it before you saw it. It's those type of things. It's like going into a room and all of a sudden you feel welcomed and so glad you're there. That's because everybody's heart energy is connecting.
Mm.
Also go into a place and you don't feel comfortable at all and you feel like, I got to get out of here. Again, that's still that energy of our fields connecting. All particles have their own unique wavelength and frequency patterns. So this is like a signature. Every single thing that you can see has its own frequency pattern, and it's unique to them, just like their signature is, just like their thumbprint is. So let's look at the color frequency. So these are showing the frequency waves related to color. So violet, as you look at it on the bottom one, it has a faster, shorter frequency wave as compared to the red. And the red has this bigger, taller frequency wave pattern. And every single color there has a frequency wave pattern that really is unique to itself. That's what makes it be that color. So our eyes are looking at that and why we see a different color, because it's a different frequency. Okay, so, and with that, it's like these frequency wave patterns can even be with music. Like if you strike a middle C on a piano and you're holding a middle C tuning fork, that tuning fork will start resonating as soon as you strike the piano note, because they will have the same frequency, which will enliven the other one. So again, we have this huge, this electromagnetic field around us, and we are all made up of light, and light energy is the most basic of building blocks for life. Now, another word that's used for the light is biophotons. And the biophotons are always communicating with each other in the body. The light that is in our body is always communicating with itself. So these patterns that you see here with the stripes that are going down the body that have the little tiny dots on them, those are the energy meridians. And then the other ones that you see that have the color like this, they are the chakras, and they are the wheels of energy. And between those two systems, we're generating energy in our body all the time to be completely healthy. So quantum physics revealed all matter emits electromagnetic waves. That means the table emits it. That means a fish emits it. That means I emit it. That means every single thing on this planet emits an electromagnetic wave. Sound, music, color, vision. All matter is also informed, structured energy, which means it has its own structure, its unique structure. That's why I say it has its own signature. And the database of this frequency information is getting to be huge, where they're able to actually tell us what the frequencies are of different things. Take this chart, for example. This chart is showing you pathogens and microorganisms, bacteria. And it's showing you the different frequency ranges that this has. And it's showing you even some of the harmonics of it. So like when you play a note on a guitar and the string is vibrating, it's creating a harmonic sound. It's not just one tone, it has a harmonic of different tones. Well, this is showing that everything does. All these bacteria, staphylococcus and streptococcus and typhoid fever and all these different things, they actually have a frequency of hertz, and hertz means cycles per second. So if we look at, say, the tuberculosis one, it has 1,552 hertz. That means 1,552 cycles per second. So that's pretty fast, but it has its unique signature. So then let's talk about this, because this is really what it boils down to when you're working in energy medicine. You have a destructive interference of an energy wave, or you have a constructive. Now, if we look at the constructive, we notice the two waves at the bottom, they're exactly alike. So when they're combined, they create that wave that's on the top there that's bigger and stronger. Then you have the destructive interference. And the destructive interference is a mirror image. So you have two frequencies, one's a mirror image of the other. And when they come together, they create zero energy. So using constructive and destructive interference is the way I use the device that I use to help people to heal. So let's call it upgrade and debug. Let's go to computer languaging so you can understand it in that way, because we all know computers and we do have a human software that we're dealing with. So you upgrade, you put in a new program. So I might want to give the frequency of a healthy cell in the liver to a person to help their cell vibrate with that healthy cell frequency so they become stronger. So take the harmonious frequency information and amplify and strengthen it. It's what makes you, you. The debugging is taking information like, say, maybe you have a bacteria. I'm going to give you back the frequency information of a bacteria to cancel out the energy of it. Let's say you don't have the bacteria in you anymore. You just were exposed to it when you were a child. If there's no physicality to it, the bacteria frequency will be completely flatlined and it will not be there interfering with your energy anymore. Now, if you have a physicality of the bacteria there, like you really do have the bacteria in your system, it's not going to cancel it out completely, but it will weaken its electromagnetic field. Now, your harmonious electromagnetic field is stronger than the disharmonious information, and now I have caused you to start to self-heal at an energetic level. All cells communicate with each other when we are healthy. All cells communicate easily with each other when we are healthy. There is a flow of energy. It flows easily and effortlessly, and you stay healthy. But when there is a disturbed frequency pattern, you can have physical symptoms. So just like if you don't have the bacteria, but you still have the frequency of the bacteria there, you may still have some physical symptoms from having had the bacteria at some point. But it can also be that you have the bacteria, it's creating a disharmonious energy field, which is causing a disturbance in your frequency pattern, and it is physical. Cells and communication equal the body's self-healing capacity. All cells in communication equals the body's self-healing capacity. That's so important. And when you look at, okay, I'm going to move this over here so I can see this better. Okay, every life cell is a battery with 1.4 volts. We have approximately 50 trillion cells in our body. So 50 trillion cells times 1.4 volts equals 700 trillion volts of electricity in your body. You're nothing but a big walking around electrical cell, right? Your energy waves interacting with each other all the time throughout the whole body. And which takes us to Pissinger's basic regulatory system, or how we self-heal. It's very simple. This is a very simplified diagram, but it's wonderful because it really shows us how and why energy medicine works well. So this here is an artery. It's taking oxygen and nutrients to the cells, and the cells in the body are these round ones here like that. And it's taking it down through the capillary system and taking it to the cells. And then the cells have a metabolic waste. They poop, and they have to have that taken out back into the system here through tiny capillaries and out in the venous system through to the organs of elimination and eliminated. This up here represents the lymphatic system, which brings in white blood cells to help the body's immune system. These little dots here represent the toxins that get stored in what we call, this is our connective tissue. It's throughout the whole body. It's everywhere. And then down at the bottom, we have this little, this is a nervous system cell. And it has these little long arms that are reaching out into the squiggly lines. These squiggly lines, this is the water of the body. And the water of the body conducts the energy information. And so what happens when we're healthy is communication. It's all going through the water of the body. All the cells are communicating. This cell down at the bottom might say, hey, I need some oxygen down here. It tells the nervous system cell. The nervous system cell tells the brain, and you might go, and take a big breath. And here comes some more oxygen for that cell. Now, what happens when you're ill, a lot of times in this communication system, is these black dots are toxins. They can block the communication between the cells and the nervous system cells. So you don't know that you need more nutrients or more oxygen. You don't know that you need waste products taken away. So over time, when these cells replicate, and they will replicate, they may replicate with a very weak cell wall. And if they replicate with a weak cell wall, and there's a group of them doing that, and there's toxins around them, and those toxins can enter into the cells now, you can have all kinds of problems, disease processes based on this. And then it really is a physical thing. So this has a physicality to it, but this shows you the interaction between the energy to the physicality of it all. So looking at this, it'd be, what could possibly cause problems in our energy? Oh, well, let's see here. There's the energy signatures. And again, in my work, I do diagnose. I don't even like using diagnostic disease things. I like you to tell me what's your symptom. And let's talk about, you know, if you say you have fibromyalgia, I want to know, I don't want to know that. What's your symptoms that you've got? Okay, because I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose, and I don't work with diagnoses like that. But the energy signatures can come from environmental toxins, allergies, emotional traumas, hereditary toxins, lifeless food, negative thoughts, viruses, bacteria overgrowth, parasites, candida or fungal infections, spiritual toxins, or surgeries and injuries. Again, these are signatures I'm looking at. I can't help but to say words like viruses or bacteria, even though I'm not diagnosing a virus. I'm saying you have a signature of a virus in your system. Could have had that virus when you were a little kid. Could have the virus now. Don't know until we do more testing and we find out. Okay, so I'm an information specialist. That's exactly what I am. I'm an information specialist. Is really the truest word I can say about what I do, because I look for the energy signatures of what is creating a disruption of an energy flow in the body, and I assist you in correcting that in many different ways. I use this levels of life to do that. The levels of life that I work with are mechanical, physical, chemical, energetic, and awareness or consciousness. Now, mechanical and physical, those are things that we know, like surgery, physical therapy, massage, chiropractic, exercise. Yoga is even in this, but yoga and massage are also in energetic. They affect those too, but they are physical things that you're doing. The chemical is more like food, drugs, herbs, supplements, essential oils, IVs, because IVs are going to be a really big thing with nutritional IVs right now. And then energetic, you've got, again, all those different ways of diagnosing, but you've also got Reiki in here too, which I didn't put in. You've got the bioresonance that I use. There's lots of different things that people do on an energetic level. The awareness level is conscious, and consciousness is thoughts, feelings, perceptions, pure awareness techniques, meditation, prayer, shamanism. The pure awareness techniques are what I do. I work with helping to resolve old injuries emotionally that have never been completely resolved. And believe me, they can create energetic disturbances, chemical disturbances, and mechanical disturbances. So I mainly work at the awareness consciousness level and the energetic level to do this, the energy work. But again, as you know from what I've said before, everything is energy. So you can't separate it out. But if someone comes to me and I'm testing them on what will help them to heal the fastest and the best, it might be that they need to be on a particular herb. It might be that they need to go to a doctor and get some blood work done. And so we can look at that and see what kind of things can be diagnosed from the MD side, you know, so we can look at it in that way. And then we can even look and see what type of person do they resonate going to, an ND, an OD, an MD, what type of doctor. So when I'm working with people, it's really good to know these levels of life. How is this going to help you in knowing about energy medicine? Because really, all the pillars that we've talked about of health in the other seminars, it's that if everything is energy, then energy affects everything. And now you can look and you can say, am I needing something from this level? Or am I needing something really on the awareness level? I mean, a lot of people that have came to me when I used to work in the cancer clinic in Tijuana, Mexico, and I managed a bioresonance clinic there for a few years. People with cancer would come to us, and they would really not be resonating with being healthy. And when we examined it further and went deeper into it, sometimes it's because they didn't want to be here. They didn't want to be on this earth. They didn't want to be in their marriage, and they would never leave their marriage, so it's better to die. I mean, they had these resonances with that. So to me, every illness has an awareness or consciousness issue that is also part of it. So you might be working on the physical level and the chemical level with your doctors with medications and things like that, but are you dealing with the deep underlying causes of why you got sick in the first place, which would be more awareness, consciousness, energetic level? So in looking at this, and this is a quote by one of my favorite men, of course, Albert Einstein. And he says, "We are slowed down sound and light waves, walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. We are souls dressed up in sacred biochemical garments, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music." It's just beautiful. We have a wonderful, wonderful body that is functioning on an energetic level that we have not been paying attention to. And it's time to pay attention to that and take it into consideration when you are ill or in a place of needing help. Look at all levels, and especially this energetic level, so that your music can be the best music you've ever played. So here's my information. My business name is Harmony Health. You can reach me on my cell phone, and you can also check me out a little bit more, see what I do at harmonyh.com. If you want to chat with me and you have some questions privately, you can reach me at hhbioresonance@gmail.com. Also, tomorrow at the office, I'm at Turtle Healing Band Clinic in Las Vegas. And I am giving a free demonstration to anyone that would like to come. And I'll be gearing it towards the demonstration towards what do you want to know about. So, that's gonna kind of make it be whatever it needs to be for you, so you can see how can this help me. And that's going to be at 3 o'clock at 2121 East Flamingo in Suite 112. 3 o'clock tomorrow. All right. Thank you.
Okay, let's open it up to questions.
I'm going to
go ahead.
I'm going to take it off the share, if it will stop share. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. Well, I had a question about your demo. You say bring whatever you want, and what are some examples of things that people could want and bring just to get our minds going?
Well, they might bring some of their supplements that they're on, or you know, that would be something they could bring, and that would be okay, to bring something like that. But really bring your complaints about your health or about your life.
Okay. So
Yeah.
wherever you are.
Yeah, just bring you, but you know, that
An issue.
also if you have supplements that you're wondering if they're good for you, you can also bring that and we can test to see if the supplements are the right ones for you or the right dosage.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Can I ask
And,
a question?
oh, go ahead.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
How do you know how they determine the frequency of something? Like you had said, oh, staph bacteria has a particular frequency measured in hertz. Like how are frequencies determined?
Yeah, well, it's they use special equipment, oscillators, to be able to find that out. Just like when they're looking at gravity or electromagnetic fields, they have specialized equipment for that. And that's never been my forte, to discover those type of frequencies and work with those types of equipments. But many of the scientists use them, and they have these big names but oscillators and different names like that, specialized equipment. Europe has a lot of that information.
Yeah, cool. Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes to the energy medicine itself, if you could just give us an example of how it works. What do you do? Do you aim frequencies at people that will counter the frequency that is causing the unhealth that's occurring? Do you?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
different people use different things. Some of the work I do is using my hands, because as a shamanic touch practitioner, I am trained in Reiki, a type of Reiki, but also using my hands to feel the energy field and feel disturbances in it. But when I'm using the device that's from Germany, you have to have an input. It doesn't generate frequency information, so it has to have a source. And so that source is going to be you, or it might be a substance that I would put in an input beaker. But generally it's you. So you're holding electrodes in your hands like balls. They look like brass. They're brass balls you hold in your hand. Or you might place a electropad over an area, like if you have a liver, I'm looking more at the liver, you might place it over the liver. And then that gives the frequency information to the device. Then I set what frequency, what we're going to do with it. Are we going to strengthen a frequency, or are we going to weaken a frequency? And then you're sitting with a mat behind you, or laying down with a mat behind you, either way. And that mat then will give you the frequency on whatever I've set the machine to do. So if I'm strengthening your harmonious information, it's going to give frequency information back to you as, again, looking just like that, but amplified to strengthen you. And if it's a pathological or disharmonious frequency, it's going to give it back to you as a mirror image. And if that mirror image will come out of that mat, and that mat generates a energy field that goes through bone and tissue and everything. So it will affect the body in that way. You can't feel it, it's painless, and it has no side effects.
So
No
how long
side
does it
effects.
how long does it take and to make an effect, and how long does it last?
The effect, it's different for everybody, but depending on what we're working on, the effect can be immediate. And sometimes once you're done with getting the program into your system, what I've done is stimulate your own self-healing. So it's not, even though the program's done, you're going to be continuing to self-heal. Now you might be a fast processor, or you might be a slow processor of that information, but we would discover that and find out which one you were, to find out if you need to come back once a week. Do you need to come back once a month? Do you need to come back at all? So like if I'm working with allergies, if I've worked with clearing a wheat allergy frequency in the body, it may be that you don't need to come back for 3 or 4 weeks. Then we'll check to see, is there still some allergy that maybe isn't on a scale of 1 to 10 at a 10 still, it might be now at a 2. So then we would treat it again. Sometimes one treatment enough, sometimes it takes several. It depends on how severe you are when you come to me. you know, if you're fairly healthy, be probably very easy just to get you in tip-top shape energetically.
Pretty amazing. Okay, to show my devious mind, can this be weaponized? Could you like aim bad frequencies at people?
I think they already do that. But I think there's somebody that already does that, but I don't. And not only that, it would take being very malicious, because I'm working with ultra fine frequency information.
Mhm.
You would have to be on it for getting that frequency put into your system for a very long time for it to cause any harm. And it's never been used like that I'm aware of. But you can't, because you can't harm it if you just, that's not something that machine that I'm using, I think, would be capable of doing, unless you had a very malicious person.
Okay, well, hopefully no evil person is listening to this part.
Well, I mean, you know, because if you're putting the frequency information in the room that's disruptive,
Mhm.
and you run it for 24/7, like let's take this, like if you sleep with a TV in your room, and it's on and you fall asleep with it, it has a disruptive energy to your body. And you wake up in the morning and go, I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. Well, all night long, you've had this frequency of the TV in your field while you're sleeping and taking it in, and no telling what was being said or played on the programs. And now you wake up and you're tired. Get the TV out of your room.
Okay. Are there substances? Okay, this brings to mind something. Are there substances that emit natural frequencies that are healthy and unhealthy? And you just mentioned the TV is unhealthy. Are there substances that emit healthy frequencies?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, flowers.
Really?
Everything emits a frequency. Everything emits a frequency. If you're looking at something or around something, trees emit a healthy healing frequency. There are many people that like to go sit with trees. Like in my shamanic training, part of it was we were out in nature and sitting with trees and feeling the energy of trees. And they're very healing, very, very healing. What about whales? If you swim with the whales or the dolphins, that's a frequency that's really healing. And many people know that crystals can affect somebody's energy field. So like amethyst is very healing, and rose quartz is not good for the heart. And, you know, and again, it's a very ultrafine frequency, but yes, it has healing properties. So there are many things. You can take like an herb that is healing for the body, and even though you've taken the physical herb, it has a healing frequency, because remember, everything physical is a frequency wave. So you're not only getting the substance, but you're getting the frequency wave. So homeopathics are like that. They've taken all the substance out of their remedies, but it carries the frequency of the plant, and they can give that to people, and it has an effect of healing them. So yes, there's many things that have healing energy. There's many people you can be around that just being around them will cause you to have a healing experience. Just as you can be around people that can cause you to have an uncomfortable experience, just based on the energy.
Well, I didn't mean to dominate the questions. Any other question?
Maybe you just want to elaborate a little more on the muscle testing that you do.
Sure.
What prompts you to go into that?
Well, with the device that I studied when I studied in Germany, we used electroacupuncture by Vol. It was a way to test the energy in the meridians using an electronic device, and then we used muscle testing was another way that we were able to gather information. And muscle testing, because muscles are binary, they either contract or they relax. So they have a way that you can get a binary system and get answers from a binary system, like an on or an off. And we have a very unique way of conditioning the body to be familiar with what yes is for the body and what no is for the body. And it's through the muscle checking then we can access to see if there's something that strengthens your system or something that weakens your system. So using the muscle checking, I teach a class in it because I like all my patients to actually learn how to do it and muscle check things in their life to eat, especially the food that they're eating. And so it's just another testing technique to be able to access the truth for your system. And again, when you're working with energy, sometimes with resonance, it's not that it's the absolute truth, it is your truth. You know, so it's kind of like your perception sometimes. But with muscle checking, I always like to tell people it's really like amplifying your own intuition. And your intuition knows exactly what you need. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a
David?
question. Go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I do want to do a mini testimonial for Holly. My 9-year-old I brought my 9-year-old to see Holly, and it was very quick. She found out that it was a wheat allergy that he had, which ironically, I acquired a wheat allergy during my pregnancy, which makes sense. I never connected those dots. And that was maybe a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And his nose, he was breaking out around his nose from eating wheat flour, and it has reduced significantly. And you can see the improvements. And this is the little 9-year-old holding these little tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, for a 9-year-old, it looks like a little robotic thing. And he sat quietly, he did it, and that was it. It was non-invasive. It was not scary. It was so simple for a 9-year-old to process what was happening.
Even what was interesting even about that was that how red and inflamed the nose area was. I mean, bright red. And even in the middle of the program, it started reducing in color to normal skin. And even 5 or 10 minutes later, he had normal skin color, and he ran in the bathroom and looked, and he was like, "Oh my God!"
Okay, Gus, you had a question.
Yes. So when I connect with chiropractors, I've been noticing that they're also using energy systems. They're using lasers, infrared lights. They're using electromagnetic mats. So it's being used very commonly. I wanted to ask Holly, besides the bioresonance machine, are there any other equipment that you use to facilitate your work?
Equipment, no. That's the only, Bicom is the only equipment I would say in that way, electrical equipment, but I do use tuning forks. I do use a lot of different healing techniques that I learned in the early on in my career, which have to do with movement, sound, toning, Jinshin, Qigong, all types of crystal mirror work, whatever, you know. I have a whole big repertoire of things that I teach people to use to optimize their energy in their body. And aromas, you know, I use aromas also. So lots of different techniques and things that I do have, but they're tools that I would call them more the tools. They're not any other devices, no.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Holly. Our hour is at an end here. I do want to mention that Loya Riggin is going to be our presenter next week. And let me find her piece here. Are you seeing my screen? I think I'm sharing it.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, Loya is going to speak about overcoming childhood trauma through accelerated hypnotherapy recovery. So this should be really fascinating, overcoming the physical, emotional, and spiritual impact of untreated childhood trauma with accelerated recovery through hypnotherapy. So there are hidden things within each of us, and to surface those things can really change our lives, and to surface them and deal with them. So Loya is going to help us with that. We're looking forward to that, Loya. Okay, so that concludes our webinar for this evening. The presentation team is welcome to stay, and we don't ever kick anyone out, but we usually take a debriefing time following the webinar. And I want to thank you, Holly, for what you've brought today. And the whole idea of energy is just fascinating and opens up a whole new area of healing that I think everyone can benefit from. And so, the question, how can we access this? Next week, we'll give a little more time also for people to present a health issue. So you might be thinking in terms of what is a goal that you would like to have. Some of our team have already identified a goal that they'd like to achieve by the end of this summer, and that's we're about halfway there now. So think in terms of a health goal. We'll have a chance to bring those up next week, bring questions forward to the team of experts, and just see how you're doing with your health goals, because we're all in the process of improving our health and achieving our optimal health. That's our goal. Okay. Well, thank you again, Holly, and I'm looking forward to that demo tomorrow. I will definitely be there, 3 o'clock. And if anyone needs that address again, or what's the phone number they can call, Holly?
270-206-0198.
Okay, say that just one more time in case somebody's writing it down.
270-206-0198.
Marvelous. Thank you so much, Holly. Looking forward to it.